Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fitness Managers Report podcast. My name is Stacey Alden, and I'm here again. She's returning for more with Ingrid Knight-Cohee, who I'm so excited to be here again today to speak all about. She's the group fitness guru, I feel like, beyond the walls of the United States. She's up in Canada, but I'll talk more about her experience. But today, our topic is all about growing your classes. She's a veteran in the industry, and she's going to describe the acronym of GROW as it pertains to increasing attendance in your classes, piquing the interest of other people, and then obviously retaining the people who are attending classes. But Ingrid is currently the fitness class director at Fitness World Canada, and she is also a nominee of the Fitness Leaders Award with G.R.O.W, which is a huge accomplishment. And we're all rooting for you as you hit the stage in Los Angeles. I'm not going there this year, but so exciting. And then she's also presenting on the topic that we're speaking about today at Idea World as well. And she has another session called Pickle Me Fit, which I also think is really one you should check out. So if you're heading to Idea World, check her out. But we'll dive into the episode and really start talking about when you have that acronym of GROW, how could you describe or explain the acronym to the audience?
Sure. Well, yeah. Hi, Stacy. Good to be back, and good to be talking about my favorite topic, fitness class guru. Though that's a fun new new title to put on my resume. But yeah, I have been doing this for a while, and what we're all about in the group fitness side of the business is making sure that our classes are well attended. So I think, certainly post-COVID, reestablishing some level of normalcy, most of us, thankfully, are seeing, robust classes come back. But there's still a lot of changes to navigate. I don't know about you and your audience, but, we're still seeing huge differences in, demographics and class time slots that used to be peak and aren't so peak anymore. Different work habits, all of these things to navigate really, continue to make it challenging from a programming perspective. So yeah, the GROW coaching model really came into the forefront in the 90s, created by a fellow named Sir John Whitmore from the UK, of course. And he really just dove into the concept of performance coaching from a business perspective or a corporate perspective. And that has kind of morphed into several books and several different variations of the GROW coaching model, which does stand for goal, reality. The O can be a couple of different things. I've seen it as opportunities or obstacles or even options. And then the W as well, I've seen that either in terms of will or way forward. I personally like the way forward. That seems a little more optimistic. But yeah, using that model, we're able to really apply that to a number of different things. But I thought it's particularly suitable to the realm of a fitness class programming.
Love that. Yeah, we're really indirectly, as instructors and as programmers, as fitness directors, we're indirectly coaching clients and hopefully coming up with programming that motivates them, gets them curious, and potentially signs up for classes. What I think Ingrid does so well with the names and descriptions that I've seen her create at the various clubs that she oversees, and the programming she does, is she makes it fun. And we were just talking earlier about piquing people's interest or their curiosity.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's paramount. We know that exercise exercising on a regular basis isn't easy for people. Otherwise, we wouldn't be so well employed, right? And we are here to really, again, create dynamic, interesting options for people so that they do attend and get into fitness and make it a regular habit. So if we were to break down that acronym, the G, the goal is definitely to continue doing that and sustain thriving classes. And, increasing attendance and maintaining that attendance and drawing in new participants. That's always the goal. So I think keeping things, again, dynamic and interesting and ever changing to a reasonable degree is definitely an excellent strategy.
Awesome. And then if you were to say, I mean, I love it how in the description of your idea world session, you say the reality is that it's not so easy. So recognizing what are some examples you would say are I can think of a lot, but the
I'm
challenges that we
sure,
run
right?
into.
I mean, yeah, I think it's important to be realistic about one's capacity. What are the different dynamics that you're faced with? It's typically it's talent, right? Not having enough instructors or qualified instructors. Sometimes it's the space, right? Sometimes you'd love to deliver relaxing yoga classes, but maybe you're in a traditional fitness club where you hear weights clanking all the time, or you don't have doors that you can actually close. So, how do you create the environment that you want to create to draw people in? So, there's an element of really assessing what you have and what you want, and figuring out how to move forward from there.
Awesome. And that's where would you say you're assessing then the options that you have to solve those problems?
Precisely, precisely.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's kind of we're stuck with a whole bunch of questions like, well, why isn't this working? Sometimes it's as simple as a survey. Ask people, right? Whether that's casual or a formal, uh, email to your membership base, but find out, ask the questions. What are you looking for? What would make you attend more classes? What time slots are you looking for? What formats? And then you have that data, and you can respond to it accordingly.
Awesome. Yes, I love that. I also love doing surveys because they kind of serve as a way if someone's like, why did you do this? Why did you change this? You can go, here's the data.
Yeah, because
Here's
you
what we
said.
found. Yeah, exactly. Majority of people want this, so we did this. Um,
Exactly.
that's
And I
awesome.
would say, just to kind of throw in there too, it's, the data is one thing, but you still want to broach things with caution. So I love just running trial classes or pilot classes. A 4-week trial, a 6-week trial is going to give you enough time to really gauge whether does the membership does this resonate, and does this have legs to trench in and make more investment in this direction.
I love that because I think as managers we get excited about potentially a class. Like we go to IDEA, for example, and we're like, this is gonna be amazing. We're gonna bring this back and everyone's gonna love it. And if you don't trial it, you could be stuck with a class on the schedule forever and 4 people are in love with it and you don't know what to do
Yeah,
because
yeah,
no one
that
else wants to
can
take
be.
it. So
For
yeah, that's so
sure, for
smart.
sure. And we get excited about different things. And that is one of the things I love about the fitness class side of the industry, is that, we are trend based and there's always something new and exciting. But, we have limited resources. So do you dive in and purchase a whole bunch of equipment, or, pay for a licensed program? If you haven't done the due diligence, you could be kind of hooped. So you want to be
Yeah.
cautious there.
Yes, so true. So good. And then where there's a will, there's a way. You mentioned that in your description, but I think that's
Precisely.
so great because it can be scary trying new things and getting out there, but you've gotta give it a chance. But how do you describe that for people?
I would say really that means just having a plan. If you've done your homework
Yeah.
and you've done your measures and you know what you have your budget, you have your people, then you can figure out, okay, this is the direction that we're going in. But the important thing there is everyone's got to be on side. If your instructors aren't excited about a direction that you're going in, your members probably aren't going to be excited about it either. So it's pretty critical to get the right people on board, moving in the same direction.
I love that. Yeah, instructors, I think, yeah, if they aren't in the know or excited about a change, you're kind of in trouble because the clients feed off of that either positive or negative energy so much
Very
so.
true.
So
Very true.
that's such a great reminder for everyone. Um, let's see. And then any other strategies that we might have missed that are or examples that you can provide to support the growth of classes maybe that are new or that already are already happening with this potential model?
I mean, I think overall, at the end of the day, your instructors rule the roost to a certain degree, right? I mean, we know we have rock stars, and it's important to keep them uh, motivated and inspired. So what we find, I have 150 instructors and a lot of amazing talent. But what I find that the kind of the common denominator, whether it's yoga, whether it's spin, whether it's hit, doesn't matter the format. There's a common denominator of just someone who exudes a certain charisma and energy. So that's it's unfortunately not. It doesn't apply necessarily to every single instructor, but you do have some special people who really drive attendance. So what I aim to do is, making sure that they feel very valued, and I give them extra opportunities. I tap them to deliver workshops or to deliver extra master classes at different locations that they don't typically teach at. So this gives them more exposure. It helps them grow their following. It inspires other instructors who are at those other locations. So there's a very positive ripple effect for really honing in on who are your rock stars and how can you keep them very happy and very connected and loyal to you.
I appreciate that so much. We're so on the same page about all of this because one approach could be we're just going to pay those instructors as much as possible and we're going to try to create non-competes and not let them work anywhere else. And that's one
Mhm,
way to handle a rock star.
mhm,
But if you can help them, like what I hear in those ideas are that you're helping them support the other teammates that they're working with. And it hopefully creates this environment of fostering deeper relationships, understanding that it's more than just them as instructors that are obviously good at what they do, but
mhm.
helps them have that kind of servant mentality as well to help other people.
Absolutely.
And they love being on that stage. Obviously, they're on a stage every
Yeah.
time they teach. So
Yeah.
being able to do that in front of their peers is such a great opportunity.
And I think it's a natural evolution for someone who is really talented. They thrive on mentoring others and sharing their talents because they recognize they have a bigger impact that way. So I think that really fills their bucket more so sometimes than paying them more. So that's
Yeah,
if you're looking from a budgetary perspective, it makes
yeah.
sense as well.
Yeah, I remember I was in a chat room one time and I was like hidden person and there were these instructors complaining about the problems they were having at studios and in larger clubs and the biggest problem they were saying was not about pay. It was about not feeling seen or heard by the upper leadership team, and or just not knowing who their teammates were. And they really wanted to be invested in education and then in the relationship building, which I found so fascinating. To
Mhm.
just from directly from the instructors, they really just wanted that love and
Yeah, we
affection.
are
Yeah.
people. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we definitely thrive on connecting and solidifying those relationships. So and I'm saying this coming off the heels of an annual event that I've created at Fitness World is our Inspire Summit. And so this is where I handpick some of my strongest instructors to deliver workshops to their teammates. And that, that fills their bucket and that delivers CECs. And it's a
Mm.
real effective way of building on your talent.
I love that so much. We might have to do an episode on the
Oh,
Inspire Summit
okay,
someday.
part two.
That's so great. And then finally, I know I'm really excited for you, and I've seen you do live streams and launches and demonstrations of the new MSINGI format that you are responsible in creating. If you can describe the format and how it actually does apply to really everything we've been talking about when it comes to the GROW principles.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I've created a lot of formats over the years, but this one was something special that I really thought, I think this is going to resonate for a number of different reasons. What we know is that still, as great as our industry is, we're still faced with a lot of sedentary lifestyles. Only 1 in 3 adults are really achieving the minimum standard of physical activity guidelines. So we have a lot of work to do still in terms of reaching the inactive. So I wanted to create a format that was very simple, that really removed barriers. So MSINGI kind of came to me in terms of really the meaning of the word, and it's a Swahili word that means base or foundational. So I thought, I love that because what we know our clients need is functional movement, right? Functional movement patterns. But that's kind of boring and nobody really kind of gets excited about that. So I thought, how can I infuse functional movement into something really fun and something that's not out there yet? And what I realized is that I love Afro beats in terms of, a great tempo driven, music genre that's not typically seen in the fitness scope. So I thought, let me put functional movement patterns together with Afro beats, and it's not a dance so much as tempo driven functional movement. So I like to call MSINGI the world's first Afrocentric functional movement practice, and it's based on 11 movements. That's it. So there's not a lot to learn, but of course we need variety, right? We need different intensity levels based on one's ability. So I chose the elemental components of earth, wind, and fire to kind of symbolize, base level, a more advanced or rotational element, balance element would be found in the wind level. And then of course, fire is where you're going to see your speed, agility, quickness, and higher intensity levels. So that's kind of the framework, so to speak, of the MSINGI class format. And it's launched at 8 of our locations here at Fitness World, and it's being very well received. Everyone from athletes to active agers are really finding benefit in. I like to call it slowing down to speed up. To really master those fundamental movements in order to execute more advanced movements with better integrity and lower risk of injury.
So great. Yeah, that the fact that there's that framework that instructors can easily learn and develop and create the experience around sounds amazing. And then the fact that the nice thing about Afrobeats, in my personal opinion, is that the music itself has this energy, but it can also be dynamic and, like you said, being faster or slower. And there's
Mm-hmm.
not a ton of talking. So there's not a lot of, distraction
Yeah.
in some of the music that we have today, that you can kind of create that energy as the instructor, and how you're cueing and how you're developing the class movements versus, some music I'm like, man, why does there have to be this message? It's such a good
Yeah.
song and the beat is so great, but it's really not, I'm not enjoying it because of the message.
Right.
So
Yeah. No,
that's
Afrobeats do tend
wonderful.
to be very uplifting and positive, and I think that's there's kind of a whole other layer in there of just mindset and positivity, which I think the world really needs right now. So that's kind of layered in there as well. But yeah, I think MSINGI kind of checks the three boxes of the three kind of components in terms of the instructor, the participant, and the programmer, because the instructor is looking for, something structured, uh, but also room for creativity. So I think MSINGI provides that in terms of really, again, 11 movements, but three different levels. So 33 exercises really in total that you can mix and match based on, how you're feeling, how your participants show up, and all that. And then from, again, a participant perspective, they have all they need is their body. Not even, it's a barefoot practice, and it's actually very suitable to be done outdoors as well. So, again, removing barriers and making things as welcoming and inclusive as possible, I think is really, we need to drive home that point in every level of our industry right now. And then finally, from a programming perspective, as we're talking about growing classes, you want something new, dynamic, things that people haven't seen before, things that are going to be media worthy, things that draw newcomers into your facility or studio and keep them there, ideally.
So great. Yes. And when you describe the movements again, too, it helped me recognize, because a lot of programs that have a formula to them, they don't accomplish the ability for the instructor to tweak things so that the energy of the room is being accommodated. Because, an example could be, I love high fitness, I teach high fitness, but there's only high fitness. Like the level is here always. And you
Right.
could walk into the room and people are not ready for that type of level of training. And so for you as an instructor to be able to have the ability to tweak that and still provide the correct format is so wonderful. And I love how you described all of that. The fact that, no equipment, managers, those of you who have been doing this for a while, you might be like, yeah,
Yes.
I'm down with that. It could happen
Makes life
anywhere, which
easier.
yeah, which as the weather gets warmer, maybe start thinking about doing things outside. So that's very exciting. So
Sure.
again, those of you going to IDEA, hit up Ingrid, take her sessions, ask questions about MSINGI, and keep us posted on if you decide to implement the format. I'm super curious as it starts to grow and develop in various
Yeah.
areas and other countries, and
Well,
it's
there
very
is,
exciting.
I do have a website. It's just MSINGIMovement.com. And I list, all of the upcoming certification courses, which are either in person or online. The next one is actually coming up on Saturday, on June 15th. So there's room for more. And we are launching internationally. I have one instructor located in California. So we're officially international. But yeah, that definitely the goal is growth. And at some point, everyone's going to know what MSINGI is and what it means. And hopefully, we'll be practicing it on a regular basis.
Perfect. Yes, we'll share as much as possible in the show notes for all of the links to find Ingrid, ask her more potentially about the GROW method, and then also MSINGI, and have a blast idea. I'll be watching from the sidelines, but we're again rooting for you and that
Oh,
award,
thank you.
and can't wait to hear all about how it goes. But anything else you want to share, Ingrid, before I sign us off?
No, other than yeah, of course I will be at IDEA. My sessions are on the Thursday, no, the Friday, July 12th. 7:30 a.m. is actually a workshop called Pickle Me Fit. So if you're not on the pickleball train and thinking about programming that in your facilities, definitely jump on board. It's the world's most popular sport. So programming around that will definitely attract an existing and potentially new clientele. And then in the afternoon is my Grow Your Classes session. So look forward to seeing people coming out.
Love it. Thank you so much, Ingrid, for your time and all of you for listening. Next up, I'm hoping on the podcast to be bringing on Vinny Dang, my friend who also works for Microsoft. And our goal is to bring in some information on AI and how artificial intelligence can help potentially, and just the vision of using artificial intelligence in the future when it comes to programming, when it comes to instructor education, all kinds of awesome things. And I'm sure Ingrid will be back someday
I
soon.
hope so. Love to be here.
Appreciate you so much. Thank you again, everyone, for listening, and have a great rest of your day.